All right, so this is some courtroom footage from the Rust trial. If you're not familiar, Alec Baldwin accidentally shot and killed a cinematographer and then wounded this guy here as the director of the film. And when this first came out and everybody's saying, oh, Alec Baldwin's going to prison, I tried to explain that on a movie set, there's so many staff and so much going on. The director, the producer, the actors, they're too busy focused on their job to focus on a firearm and who's loading what. That's up to the armorer, the props people. You got a safety person. Everybody else is too dedicated to their job to be checking to make sure the weapons are safe. That's the armorer's job, and that's why it's one person's job, because the director's looking at a monitor, and that's what this guy here is describing in the courtroom scene, is that he was busy looking at the monitor and looking at the shot. The cinematographer's doing the same thing. You got all these staff around. They're busy doing their jobs. And Alec Baldwin's busy being an actor, giving a performance. And so you don't have time to make sure that this armor is loading a safe weapon, or it's not supposed to be loaded, all those things. That's up to the armorer. That's the point. So let's see what he has to say here.
So, at any point in time, did you see Ms. Gutierrez enter the church with the firearm?
No, it wasn't. I wasn't aware of her coming in or leaving or anything. The church was, there's an enormous amount going on. A million voices, it feels like. The special effects guys are rigging things up in the roof for debris for later on. When the shooting starts, there'll be debris falling down, and there are people working the lights. There are people moving the cameras. There's a lot going on, and so I didn't really register that.
Exactly.
Do you have any idea who provided Mr. Baldwin his revolver for the scene?
No, I mean, just beyond in a general sense about who's supposed to hand it off, but no, I didn't see anybody give it to him.
Okay.
So again, he's too busy doing his job as the director to stop and say, hey, we got to check that revolver to make sure there's no, someone's accidentally put a live round in there or something. It's just not his job. It's not the producer's job. It's not the actor's job. It's not Alec Baldwin's job. It's the armorer's job, because everybody else has too much going on.
At some point, does Mr. Baldwin get his revolver?
I mean, he clearly had it. The interesting thing, I never saw him with it. I mean, he clearly had it because of what happened, but when I went in to look at to see what was going on with the camera angle, I remember there's sort of a big group kind of hovered around where he would be. He would be sitting in the pew. I just couldn't see him. I'm not the tallest guy in the world. And so what I wanted to do was get up behind Helena to try to sneak a look over her. And there's a little tiny monitor on the side of the camera to at least see that, to see what it was looking like. But I never even got a look at that.
Okay. So explain to us when you're going into the church and why and what you do and what happens.
So I went inside again to see.
But keep in mind, this is a small church where they're shooting this scene. These guys are just 10, 20 feet away from each other, and he doesn't even see Alec Baldwin get their firearm. He's just got too much going on. That everybody keeps wanting to say it's Alec Baldwin's fault. It's like, he's got a job to do. It's not his job to check that firearm to make sure, when they say it's clean or it's cold, which is it's cold, he's going to take their word for it. And he's been doing this, since the 80s? And he's never had a problem. So why wouldn't he trust props? Why wouldn't he trust the armorer? If he gets handed a cold weapon, hey, it's cold, you're going to assume that's what it is. So I'm not seeing how this is on Alec Baldwin.
To try to see what the angle was. There were a lot of voices. I heard Alec's voice. I heard Helena's voice. Everyone sort of talking at once. I don't have a clear memory of how long I was standing behind her. I know I got up behind her to try to see on the monitor and there was an incredibly loud bang that was not like the half and quarter loads you hear on a set. Those are sort of, they're loud poofs and pops. This was deafening. And it felt like somebody had taken a baseball bat to my shoulder. I remember that distinctly, and sort of stumbling back and shouting. I don't remember exactly what I said.
And it's him getting
were
shot.
you able to see Ms. Hutchins at that time?
I did. I remember sort of stumbling back, and I either fell to my knees or I was sitting, and I distinctly remember her being lowered to the ground. People had her sort of by either side, and I still didn't quite know what had happened. Nothing made sense. I remember initially thinking, had she been startled by it?
And again, Alec Baldwin said the same thing. I'm not an Alec Baldwin fan. I don't like this guy personally, Alec Baldwin, but I'm not seeing why this is his fault. I'm not getting it. Oh, God damn it. No.
Darn high.
They were sitting her down as a result, and then I saw the blood on her back.
And to the best of your recollection, what happened after that?
It got very chaotic. I remember them laying me down. I remember them laying her down next to me. Although we were sort of facing in opposite directions, my head was this way, her head was that way. I remember a lot of panic. I still just couldn't figure out what had happened. I thought, was there something that had been stuck in the barrel that came out? But just nothing made sense. I remember our dolly grip, Ross, coming to sort of grab me and trying to calm me, and then Matt Hemmer came in, and between the two of them, I remember they sort of tended to me and were pulling up and just trying to find out where there was a hole.
Do you recall, Mr. Souza, at any point in time during that general time after the gun went off, having any kind of an interaction with Ms. Gutierrez?
I remember at one point looking up and her standing there with another person or a few other people, and she looked distraught. And I remember her saying, I'm sorry, Joel. And I remember somebody just screaming at her, and they just ushered her out.
Yeah, she screwed up. It's her fault. See?
At
All right, I'm going to go. Cheers,
some
guys.
point in time,